Okay. Hello. Um, I believe we are all doing well. So in our previous video, we've just seen how we can install Power BI. Now, in the event that you missed that video, you can check at the description. There's a link that is going to redirect you so that you can easily see how do we download Power BI for free without paying anything. So don't let anybody tell you that we're buying Power BI. So we wanted to understand the interface of the Power BI that we've just downloaded. So let's dive into the video for today. So I will proceed and open Power BI. So this is how Power BI looks like. The icon is some three steps icon step moving forward. So just open them and yes, it's loading. So this is one of my love languages, Power BI. Okay, good. So once we have our Power BI, it looks like this. So yours will definitely look different from mine because I am not signing in for the first time. I am not using Power BI for the first time. Now, yours is different because you're definitely using it either for the first time, or if you're not using it for the first time, we might have a bit of similarities. So I want us to quickly go through a few of things. So first of all, you want to check on the version. So if I want to check on version, down here is about us. So on the about, if I click on about, I'll be able to know where's the version of Power BI that I am currently using. The latest version is the one that is deployed in June 2025, and you can see here. So I have June 2025 version, and I mentioned in our introductions that Power BI or Microsoft are doing updates of Power BI every single month. You can imagine if they're doing updates every single month. So imagine how much you have to learn. But don't worry, we got you for any new update. We'll be here to synthesize it so that you can clearly understand. Let's go back here. There's this also the part for options and settings. So let's start with options. Now, options are just but a bit of settings that enables us to do a few things. I'm not going to discuss a bit of options or a few settings that we need because we will be working with these ones as need arise. So basically, if you want to do most of the settings, we just want to do one settings, and that is under security. There is this option for maps and visual maps. So you realize that they are unchecked by default for security purposes because it's allow you to use the location. So we will enable them. So just turn them on because in our visualizations, as we move forward, we will be using maps for visualization. And for us to be able to use them efficiently, we'll need to check these ones. Other settings, we will be coming back and turning them on as need arise. So for now, let us click OK. We are still back on the main interface. We have options to sign out. I'm not going to sign out for now. Under options, I have data source settings. Now, you can get data from different data sources. You can see I always get data from different sites, different I've gotten data from SharePoint, from different websites, from different platforms. So you can adjust these sources if you want to clear permissions, edit permissions, if you want to export that specific connections. So that is where we are going to do all those connections, or we're going to modify those connections. You also have the options to export. One thing I want to say is that, okay, Microsoft is very, I want to say stingy in terms of data sharing because you can only export into two formats. One is just Power BI template, which is a PBX, or to PDF. So if you want to export, you can export your visual into a PDF. So you can see I'm only having this interface, so nothing much. So that is the only thing I can, export. So apart from PDF, you can also export as a Power BI template. It's a Power BI template. So that is something that I think Microsoft really need to check. We should be able to export this data in different formats that we want. And we can also import Power BI templates, visuals from a pipe, or from AppSource, or from Query, or from Pivots, or from Power View. So if you don't know what Power View is, Power Pivot is, you need to learn much into Excel. Power Query, we'll be learning Power Query here. We'll be learning Power Query in Excel. We'll be learning Power Pivots here. We'll be learning Power Pivots in Excel as well. So stay tuned as we crack the bones of these tools that are going to be impactful in data analysis. We have the options to get data now. When we were starting, one thing I mentioned that one of the main reasons as to why Power BI is heavily growing is because of the options that it has when it comes to data connections. We are going to see how many options, which tools can we use to directly automate connections of data source into Power BI. We have options that allows us to share our Power BI templates. I'm going to minimize that for now. We can save as a new file, then open other files. Now, this is the main interface. So this is not interesting part. So I want us to move to the most interesting part. Um, Let me open. I'm going to close this one. I'm not going to save anything. Let me open it up again. I want to open Power BI again. So once I have opened Power BI, let it load. Good. The next thing I want to create a blank report. So that is one thing we want to go straight to. So for you to start creating, reports, dashboards, you click on blank reports. So I want us to understand this interface while creating these blank reports. What is it that is here? So first of all, we have the top bar, this black part here, where we have options to save your work, undo, redo. Now, by default, because we have not named this Power BI, it's untitled. Now, once you save it, it will have a name and a timestamp for saving. For example, let me save this. I just click on save or Control and S. So if I do that, I'm going to give it a name. Let me call this one training 001. I'm just going to save it in the same location. If I want to save it in another location and click more options, browse this device, then I can choose where to save this one. So I'll still give it the same name, training 001. Then I'll give it a save options. So once I have done that, so you can now see it is telling me the name of my Power BI document, the time I saved it last. So East African time as we speak, it's around 9:23 p.m. So that is the part of the top bar. I can also search anything that I want to, to identify. If I'm having a challenge, I can search something here. Then at the top bar, we can also minimize, close, or maximize. Now, another interesting thing is on the icon for the user. So you can always sign in. You can always sign in to Power BI account with your accounts. So you put your email, you continue, and you cancel. So you can always decide on, don't worry about that email. It's not logging in. So even if you try to want to work out, it's restricted. You don't have access to it. There's nothing you can do about that. So don't worry about the email up there. So if you have a Power BI license, I will show us as we move on, how do we get access to Power BI services. So this email will provide a sync between the Power BI desktop and Power BI services. So if you do not have a license, you can always find out, because you cannot create a Power BI license with personal account. If you have a challenge and you do want us to help with having some Fabric free license, you can always drop a chat on the chat box, or find us on our social media handles, text me, and then I'll be able to figure out a way on how to give you a learning free license, or how to create a Fabric free license that you can use. And even as we move forward, I think I'll be creating a video on how to do that, so we don't need to be worried much. For now, just know that if you want to sign in, you click on this icon and then you put your company email for you to be able to sign in. So that is basically the top bar. Now, after the top bar, we also have the menu, or the ribbon. Let me call it the ribbon. So the ribbon hosts our menus and sub menus. Now, just the same way, it is exactly concept of Excel, where we have the ribbon and the top up. Now, the ribbon hosts the submenus. Now, these submenus are very many. They come up depending on whatever we are doing. So, the default one, we have home, insert, modeling, view, optimize, and help. So, we are not going to discuss them one by one. The only major one we are going to focus on right now is help, because most of these ones we will be using them as we work on our model. We'll be able to get data from different sources. You can see anything that concerns data or getting data or doing connections, we do get it from home under data source. Then we have queries, how we can edit, transform, then insert visuals. We have a number of visuals. I think Power BI has very many visuals. I'll be able to show you together. Then we can do what we call calculations. So we call them DX. So as we move forward, we'll be able to learn the data analysis expressions on sensitivity, then publishing, and then we also have the artificial intelligence models incorporated within Power BI. So we will be learning all these tools as we develop actual models and how they work. Then on insert, we can insert different visuals, shapes, elements, we can even integrate with Power Apps. For those who've used Power Apps, it's also a very powerful tool that, we can use to develop applications or mobile applications without necessarily having to know how to code. We also have the concepts of modeling, basically focusing on data analysis expressions. We will be able to do that. Now, under modeling, also we can do on security, that is managing roles, creating roles, so that we are making these dashboards personalized. You can only have access to whatever we have authorized you to view. We have the view that gives us options to change the theme, scaling our designs, changing to mobile layout, enabling grills, disabling them, locking objects, unlocking them, and also panels. Now, if I want to enable panels, now when I'm talking of these panels, we're going to discuss a number of them. We have filter panel, as you can see here. I have visualization panel and data panel. So if you want to disable or enable, for example, filter panel, I'll just click on it here under view. If I want to see bookmark panel, I'll just click on bookmark. You're going to see what are all these panels doing so that we understand them. So basically, the ribbon houses our major functions and then optimization options. I have intentionally left help out because we are going to learn about that. Okay, we're going to look into it a bit in details. Then we now have on this side we have different views. So I want to start with the report view. So actually the report view is where we are going to add our visuals. All our visuals are going to be here. So if you're going to create pie charts, Gantt charts, tree maps, they're all going to be here. Then we also have the table view. Now the table view is where our data is going to be visible. Now we're going to add data set and you're going to see how it's going to appear here so nicely. And then we also have the model view where we want to establish relationships. So basically this is like data modeling. So how can we create relationships between different tables to help us achieve easy calculation? So that is we are going to see how do we use key elements to connect data. We have different types of relationships. We talk of one-to-one, many-to-many. I will explain all that concept as we move forward. Then here we have where we can write our query. So in Power BI, that is the data analysis expression. So take care of these four views. I've talked of report view, table view, model view, and the X query view. So these are the major things that we are going to be interacting with, mostly the report view. So under the report view, we have different panels that we want to talk about. The first panel is the data panel. So basically the data panel will be displaying our variables. So all our variables will be here. I want to quickly load sample data set so that when I'm explaining these visualization parts, we can easily know that. So I'm going to help. Then under examples, we have data sets. So we have sample data that we can use. So I want to load sample data so that it can aid in understanding of the interface. So I'm going to quickly load that one. So it is available in all your Power BI tools. So once I've done that, I'm just going to select it's a financial data. I'm not going to proceed to transform. I just want to load because we are still understanding the interface. So once I have done that, I'll wait for a few seconds for our data to load. It's about 700 rows. Now, when I'm talking about our variables, you can see on the data panel, we have a list of all these variables: year, unit sold, segment, sales, all through to cost of goods. So the data panel will just be housing all the variables so that when we need to use sales, I just select it or drag it. Now the visualization panel, it houses all the visuals that we need. Now these are not the only visuals that Power BI have. They are thousands and thousands of visuals. Let me click on get more options. If I click on get more options, okay, we'll be privileged to learn each and every visual one by one. How to modify it, why, when, and for what purpose. So if I click on get more visuals, it opens a store where I can get as many visuals as I want. Now, this is why I'm saying that there's 1,000. Some are paid, some are free, some are not paid. So you can filter out based on correlations, filters, raw infographics, KPIs, maps, narratives, others. So, on your interest. So all these are visuals that we can use in Power BI. Now you can start imagining. Do you think your industry, you are not going to get any visual that you're going to use, whether in engineering, whether you are in education, you know, whether you are in mechanical, electrical, any, all of that is here. Even if you're a photographer, you can do a lot of integrations. So we have a number of, visuals. So don't just focus on what is here. These three buttons has magic in it. So figure it out. We'll be able to learn a few more advanced visuals. So your work is to stay around to learn more. So on the visualization panel, we have the build visual, which is basically helping us in, creating visuals based on our interest. Then we also have the format visual. The format visual now help us to give our visuals life. For instance, you can see I want to use a pie chart. Now this is the commonly one. So I have a pie chart here. Now after adding a pie chart, all these options allows me to build this pie chart. So that's why it's called build visual. For instance, let's say segment. I'm going to select segment here. Now you see on the legend, the segment is populated. Allow me to expand this a bit. So I have different segments: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5: channel, partner, enterprise, government, mid-market, and small businesses. Then I want to do by values. So I'll just drag values. I can do profit or sales. So if I do that, you see the government is the largest segment. So the build visual is just helping me to build my visual. I want to change this to, stacked bar chart. I want to change it to donut chart. I want to change it to funnel chart. So it's helping me to build. I want to remove profit. I want to add sales. I want to change it back to column chart. So it is just helping me to build. So that's why it's called build visual. Then I have the format visual here. So basically format visual is just helping us, how do we modify? Can I change the colors? Can I add data labels? For example, you can easily see that. So anything that makes our graph to look beautiful, to look according to our audience, is found here on format visual. Then we have the options for further analysis. So we are going to do things like forecast. We are going to identify anomalies. We are going to create constant lines, max line, mean line, average line, exponential line. So we are going to do all that on the further analysis. So basically this panel for visualization is also very handy, and ensure you remember it. It's going to be very useful. So I say that other panels are found here. If you want a filter, which is going to define the parameters of what you want to be seen on that specific visuals. For example, if I want to do away with one channel like this, I'd simply do that. You will not see it here. So we are going to learn how to use those filters. Talking of bookmarks, now this is going to be a bit advanced. So as we move up, you're going to see how can we use bookmarks to do in-page navigations. We have selections. How can we do order of any visual that we've added within the selections? So these are the panels that we are having here. Now, when I come back to table view, you realize that on the table view, so this is the data set that I'm having on the table view. You can see that. So I have the column name, I have the data inside those columns, and still on the data panel. Now I don't have visual panel or the visualization panel on the table view because we are not developing visuals on the table view. We're just developing it on the report view. Then I also have on the model view, you can see I have a table. So I will have a number of tables here that I can create relationships between those tables. For now, we do not have any other table, so we can't create relationships. Then the last part of this is here, all tables. So you can easily see I can add. So let me go back to the report view. I can add a new page. So you can add as many pages. You can rename these pages if you want to. I can call these home. I can call these dashboard. You can call them the names that you want. Dashboard, as I move. So you can add as many pages as you want. So also you can delete these pages by just clicking delete. It will ask you if you want to delete it, then you hit OK, and it will be gone just like that. You can rename, you can duplicate. Also on the footer, you also have options of creating a mobile view. Now, just apart from doing the desktop view, we can also create our visuals for the mobile view where we can be adding our elements here, but we first need to create them in the desktop view in order to modify them for mobile view. So you can also zoom in your models to fit a page. If you not seeing everything, you can easily use the auto zoom function here. This one here, fit to page function, that will bring your visuals back to fit in within your area. Now I intentionally left the help section and I want us now to look at it very in details. Now I have mentioned that most of these ones we are going to interact with them. Now before I move to help, I want you just to take a look after you've installed the Power BI. I want you to go through what I have explained. Just get familiar with it. Look at your Power BI. It looks empty, yes, but just look at it. Just navigate. Click through this table view, model view. In fact, go back to report view and on your help sections, get example data set and look at the data panel. Just go through the data set, that sample data set. Visuals, click on any, let them change. Click on any of the data set that we are having so that we understand what is it that we have in the Power BI tool. So let me now go back to this part that I want to call help. So on help, we have a number of things that we are going to discuss. Now, because it is the last time I'm talking about help, I'm not going to talk about help in any other video. So if you want anything to do with help, it's just on this video alone. So first of all, under help, we have about us. I have told us what about us does. So it's also found on the file option. So I'm just going to close it because we now know. Now, also something interesting is that, my work is to show you visually how it works. But Microsoft have also put in a lot of effort to see to it that you can also learn. So we have guided learning. So this does not tell you that you do not come back and watch my videos. I know you will not be able to, it's very hard to read. So if you find it very hard, don't worry, I still be creating very many videos that will be helping you. So get started with Microsoft data analysis. So this is your part to getting started with there. So Microsoft has given you a detailed guideline on or a quick check on how to get started with Power BI. So get started with Power BI, so you can come and learn here. So if you see I've delayed so much, you can also come and get certified as a Power BI Data Analyst Associate. Now I have had this certificate, I have it already. So you can also, do that. So it's done after every 12 months. So you can do a preparation for exams, take the exams. So you can renew your examinations, assessment. So you can schedule an exams. It's around 1,000. No, it's about 165 US dollars. So you can do it in any quite a number of languages: English, Japanese, Chinese. You know, yes. So once you've done that one, you become a certified Power BI analyst. Okay. Perfect. So you can do that on guided learning. Now we also have training videos. Now, one thing I always say is that this is a channel that you don't want to miss. So here is where Microsoft. Okay, we are good. Not today. So this is where Microsoft publish updates for every month. So if you navigate back to videos, you can see Power BI monthly update. So this is a June update. So we have a June update. You can see I have June update. Apart from June update, there are still a number of updates. I don't know what they did to these, but there are a number of updates. So there's an April update, there's a May update. So apart from May update, there's a March update. Apart from March update, I'm trying to quickly go through. There is a March update. Yeah, still a March update, April update, February update, November update. So these updates are done on a monthly basis. So just to be on this channel, it's a community of over almost 500,000 people, so that you don't miss any notifications. Anything new, you can always learn it here. If you don't get it, bring the comments so that I can synthesize it on the videos or our next videos. So subscribe to that channel. You can easily get it through training videos. Now, this is another interesting part, the documentations. It is really in details. It is in details. So here, it is guiding you from like step by step. How do you deal with Power BI? Yes, how do you deal with Power BI? I know as much as I'm showing you, I know it's very hard. Maybe 10% will be able to learn through this document. Don't worry, the remaining 90%, I got you. We will be sharing these on videos. So don't worry if you don't like reading, you like watching. I'm here. If you want me to do a podcast, just let me know. So you can also download a PDF version for this. You can also download a PDF version for this that you can read offline if you do not want to read online. So that is on guided or documentations of Power BI. We have support options, forget about that. We have also a Power BI blog. So a Power BI blog is where Microsoft allows blogs on Power BI. So they publish blogs, celebrate with us Power BI. It turns 10. It's beautiful, right? So Power BI is turning 10 and we're celebrating a decade of turning data into insights and impact. Now, I've trained this tool for the last 5 years. I've trained corporate for the last 5 years. So at least it didn't. When it was catching up, we were already catching up with it. So pretty well. So let's celebrate Power BI together by learning it. That's the best we can do. Then community. This is where you want to engage your fellow individuals in this tool. So if you go to community, you'll be able to have an account, start talking. You can search content based on something else. You can go to knowledge base. You can check a number of things. Then we have Power BI for developers. Let me skip that for now. That is a bit out of what we're going to discuss here. Submit an idea. So this is why Microsoft is beating most of its competitor. I'm talking about Tableau. I'm talking about Locker. You know, Ford. I'm not saying that they're bad. No, they're good, but Power BI is really making it. So we do suggest ideas. If you want to suggest an idea, if you don't like anything, if you want them to add anything, please suggest it here. It might be there on the subsequent update based on the suggestions. So apart from that, I've talked of example data set. So we have example data set, we have community gallery. So here you can get a number of templates, a number of applications. It all depends. So data story gallery. So if you want to see different models, you want to live weather reports, so you can always get them here. So we have a number of templates that you can build from. If you actually don't like starting from scratch, we got you as well within these communities. So you can see this is a live weather report with the forecast. It's being loaded. So where? Bangalore, Chennai, Darjeeling. So you can see the weather updates for these specific regions. This is a Power BI model. Looks pretty good. You might think it's a software. No, it's not a software. Or it's a software. So let's go back again here. And then now the most interesting thing is this one. The most interesting thing is this one. If you look at the last part on consulting services, now Power BI is pretty expensive. I before I started this, I even didn't know like it's this expensive. Now look, okay, anyway, anytime you see somebody writes $1 or free, by the end of the day you're the product. So don't worry, your free or your $1 will make you be the product. So very careful. Now look, data analytics for sustainable management. They're charging around 40,000 US dollars. Now, leave alone that. I want you to check on the trainings that are offered in for Power BI. Just trainings. So let me try to see one. Um aha and for 5 days for education, 6 week implementations. Not I'm trying to get one with a training for Power BI so that you know you should also appreciate whatever you're doing here. Okay. Wait, is there no training coming up? Okay, good. So I have this Smart Bridge LLC. So fabric in a day workshop, half or a day workshop. Now look at what they're charging, 5,000 US dollars. Now be seated, be taught the workshop, learn, and you pay $5,000. So you should appreciate free knowledge on YouTube. That is one. That is one. I'm pretty sure there's still much more to check out on. Is there any other training? Those are migrations. Still pretty expensive, $10,000. You could do it in a week or two. So I also advise that train your staff on this tool. Here's another one. Power BI Hackathon 1 day workshop. Now 1 day workshop, 4,500. 1 day workshop. So you can see how pretty good this tool is. Power BI metadata extract, like metadata extractor. Power BI 8 week implementations. This is a Microsoft strategy Power BI. 60,000 US dollars. So people are making money. Organizations are making money consulting in Power BI. So that is why it is important that you master this tool so that by the end of the day, you don't become jobless. Now, ain't jobless. I'm doing a lot of consulting in Power BI, and if you have one, you can always hit me up. I can guide you. I can help you set up. I can help you develop nice visuals. So I don't charge heavy as these people do. You can negotiate. Now, I'm not marketing myself, by the way. I'm just helping you to understand that this tool is a very good tool. Apart from just learning it to help the organization, it can help you quit your job and become a consultant if you do not like to be employed, like I do not like. So yes, so basically we are going to be using this tool with real data set to solve real problems. And I suggested that if somebody feels like they have a data that there's not much about protections on it, they'd wanna have their data go public and they'd wanna have dashboards on it, do it on the chat box. But basically that is giving you an overview or an interface overview of Power BI. When I'm talking about top bar, ribbon, report view, table view, model view, data query view, and the footer together with all the panels you've talked about, the data panel, visualizations panel, selections panel, filter panel. We all know what they do. And I've also emphasized on the importance of the help menu. The rest of the menus will be learning them as you work. So I'm pretty sure that one gives you a bit of overview of how this tool work. Now, Imagine it is that simple, but very complex in terms of result or output. So I want to take a break on that. If you have a question, drop it on the chat box or on the comment section. I will respond. If you need any clarifications, drop it on there. Next, we are going to learn how do we import data from various sources into a Power BI. We have 1,000 sources. How do we import it into Power BI? So just stay tuned. Keep it up with me until we meet next time on how do we get data into Power BI. We have just seen the interface. It took us quite a pretty long time, but well, for those who managed up to this point, I believe we are good. So see you next in our next video on how do we import data into Power BI.